go. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, October 16, 2019. Can't believe it. We're in the middle of the first month of the last quarter of 2019. Last quarter of the decade, if you guys haven't seen that meme going around. It's insane. I am super excited to be here with the beautiful person, my friend Sabrina Serrano.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the show.
Thank
you
you
look
for
awesome.
inviting me. Thank you so much.
See how that natural lighting comes in? We look good, right?
It's
We
just
look
good highlight
It's
off.
good. So Gary's on. Hey, Gary Urbanski. Give us a thumbs up or a heart. Let us know you can hear us and see us. We have moved into the dining room because the club is super booked today. And they're gracious enough to allow me to do the show. Oh, what's up, babe?
Hi.
How you doing? So I'm very excited to have you on. I love Reset for Growth. I love the entire journey.
Yes.
I know bits and pieces of it, but they don't.
Right.
So I am excited for you to share it. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely.
So
All right, go ahead.
I know that we sat a couple weeks ago at the Orlando Real Producers event, and we just started an organic conversation. And the first thing that you said to me was, "How did you do it?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And you said, "I've watched you for the whole part of the year, and all of a sudden you're like half of the person that you were, but not half of the person as far as how you present
You're
yourself."
physical.
Absolutely.
You're physical.
And the conversation turned into, what did you do? Because you seem brighter, you seem lighter, and I feel brighter and lighter. And that's how the conversation of Reset for Growth came about. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sabrina Serrano. I work with Old Republic Home Protection. Ted and I have been in the same circuit of acquaintances and some colleagues, but we've never had a chance to really sit down and have a conversation with one another. And so we just recently did that, and he observed that I had dropped a significant amount of weight, which is very true. So my journey began last December. It's embarrassing to say, but it's part of what's happened today in my life. I was pretty much 190 pounds, and I'm only 5 foot, so I am like little.
Was this a lifelong thing? So tell them a little bit about you before you get to the weight. So tell them, were you always that weight? Was that
Absolutely
something?
not.
So
No.
You're from New York,
Yes,
right?
Originally. I was born in New York. I moved here when I was 10. We were the only Hispanic family, and my parents were very much in blend in, and blending in.
You moved to Orlando,
right? I thought it was very easy to blend in, especially because Spanish is not our dominant language in our home. I know some of you are like, what?
Who knew?
I know. It's my second language. Spanish is my second language. Like American Sign Language is my third.
That's awesome too.
Yes, we love ASL. So when we moved here, I did pretty much everything every other kid does. I got involved in extracurricular activities. I was a competitive cheerleader for 12 years.
Nice.
That's a long time. So I had been pretty athletic my whole life. And then I moved out, and I put myself through school, got into relationships, and then I got into a relationship that I got really, really happy in. And sometimes they say the love pounds add on.
Fat and happy.
Yeah, well,
Big and happy.
It was like a progressive growth of 10 pounds every year. And then unfortunately, like life happens, that relationship didn't necessarily work out in my favor. And rather than being able to jump right back into being athletic, the comfort that I took was eating and hiding myself. And
because you learned, I love this, so let's talk about it.
Yes.
You were in a good relationship, but you became happy, or you were happy in that relationship. And so once you were out of that relationship, you had equated food with that happy, euphoric feeling. Is that what happened? And then when you got out of that relationship, that was a comfort for you.
There was kind of a switch in the relationship. It was when I knew the relationship was no longer in a very positive place, and I knew that it was no longer going to serve us both any justice. The comfort then was eating more.
Right.
So it wasn't escaping. And I the weird part about it is when I'm stressed out, I don't have an appetite. But for some reason, being in a relationship that that is tanking,
right.
Comfort comes to seclusion. You're embarrassed. You don't want to admit to friends, family, yourself that the relationship is going where you don't want it to go. You never go into a relationship actually thinking it's going to fail. No one does that. No one gets married saying, well, that's going to be my next, my future ex-husband. Nobody does that.
They joke about it, but they really don't get into a relationship like
I
that.
did. I mean, we got married, and it didn't work out. And we traveled to some pretty amazing places, and there was no record of it because I didn't like the way that I looked. When I looked at those photos, I didn't recognize that person. That person was so into helping and pushing other people while neglecting themselves. And in that neglect, there was a lot of self-sabotage. The self-saboteur was loud. I mean, she was just constantly in here about how you can't, how you shouldn't, how you wouldn't, and it's just ugly to be in that place because nothing that anyone can say to you is going to take you out of that.
Because you have to make it, right? You have to be the one.
Absolutely.
That's what you're going to say. You have to be the
Absolutely.
one who has to do it. And what happens is, I love the fact, and I don't know if this is while you're going through it or hindsight for you, but I love the fact that you understand that you were your own worst enemy.
Absolutely.
We're blaming all of these outside factors, other people, other things, when in reality, you do have control of that. And then that voice inside your head, that's your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Something's telling you to be that way, and self-sabotaging hurts so many people, and yet they don't recognize it. And so how did you have the wherewithal to know that, okay, it's me, and then how did you break it? How did you get out of that? Was it a short-term process? Did it take you a long time?
No.
What was the impetus? What was the catalyst for you? Jeff's on.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. What was the catalyst for you to go, all right, I'm done listening to that voice. I know what I need to do for Sabrina?
Most people will flat out say, what's your 5-year plan? And in my 5-year plan meant that I was going to be married, I was going to have a baby, there were all these things that I had ideology for myself.
Right.
And when I saw that was failing, I said, now what do I do? What's my new 5-year plan?
Right.
And I'd watched a friend of mine join the gym and just become healthy all the way around. And I just reached out to her and I said, please tell me what you're doing, because I'm in a very, very slippery slope to a dark place. And I know that if I don't pull the reins right now, it's gonna get even worse. I mean, and there are a lot of people who go through some serious situations where depression starts to set in, and I already can figure out that those triggers were going to start happening because I was in the middle of a divorce. So I asked her where she went to the gym, and I ended up going to this amazing gym, plug, Hardcore Fitness, Winter Park. I went, and it was the best decision that I ever made in my life. I obviously have had athletic background before, but it had been a long time
Right.
since I put myself into that. And I just said, if I can take away all of the blame and the other factors that are coming in and just push it aside and just do one thing and one thing alone, is focus on myself, then I can give the best version of myself, not only to me, but to every other aspect of my life. And that's exactly what started happening. I went to the gym, I got a trainer, I was the nutritionist, I started doing everything that is what we...
Was it easy?
No.
Right, so that's the part I really want people to understand, that this is a commitment, right? So you just don't, all of a sudden, you may wake up and you go, okay, I'm done. That's a lot of times that's what people, we're finished, I've had enough. But then to have the commitment to do it, and then just because she's here, looks amazing, beautiful, doesn't mean that the journey wasn't an incredible challenge. Because remember, you're completely changing your life. You're changing everything that you were normally doing before and taking on a new normal. And so people, but they'll look at you and go, oh, well, she had the 12 years of cheerleading. She looks amazing now, so it must have been a piece of cake.
Or some people probably like, she got her stomach stapled. No, that's not true.
So talk about that. So let's say you go to the first session, you know that this is where you need to be, but what are you having to do? What are you having to change in your life to make it? And then I'm sure that, I would imagine, the first couple of days, even though you feel good that you're doing the right thing, it doesn't mean that you feel good 100%. You're like, what the heck am I doing?
That is funny that you say that. So the first month, I think I drove through tears to the gym because my world was falling apart. And I mean, divorce papers had already been set in. the only real blessing that I had was that my sister joined with me. So she would meet me in the parking lot of the gym while I'm like sobbing because I can't believe this is what my life has come to. But I honestly, I forget, but I watched a TED Talk about removing the self-saboteur, and I bought car markers. You know, the markers that they write
Yes.
all the, you know, the sales and stuff on. So I bought that, and I, in my house, started writing on the mirrors that I've avoided for years, "You are beautiful. You are strong. You will do this." I started writing things to tell myself that I was a person who was regaining knowledge of who they really were. Because I lost that person. I had no idea who I was. At this point, I was just completely vulnerable to anything.
And you're
that was coming to
doing
me.
this, which I think you're doing this. I know this journey's difficult. It's a challenge, right? So any journey that you're making your transformation in is difficult. But you're doing it, and sometimes you don't feel beautiful, but you're still writing the words down because your body, your psyche, your soul, your spirit, it picks up on that. Whether you're feeling it or not at that moment, to continue to have that in front of you is so important.
Right. And it took almost 6 months in to finally, you know, instead of looking down when I passed a mirror, to look up and to make
I love
eye contact
that. Yeah.
with the person who was walking by, and to simply say like, "Wow, like, who are you? You know what? You're a bad A girl."
I say badass, that's
Okay.
fine.
I'm just, it took a while, but it took a lot of trying to strip all of the negative things that happened. The first day that I went to the gym was a leg day with one of the craziest trainers that they have there. I couldn't walk.
You can't walk
I
right after a
couldn't-
leg day.
I'm
I mean, it was
not-
the 80s the last time I did leg
not.
day, but I understand.
I'm not lying. I think I went to Sam's and bought the entire display of BioFreeze, and I almost died of hypothermia in my house because I put it all over my body. I was like, I cannot believe.
Right.
I went to lunch with a client, and there was an older woman. I mean, she was maybe in her 80s, and I was waiting in line for the handicap stall, and she came in. She goes, "Honey, the other stall's available for you." And I'm like, I have a medical emergency. I really need that bar, otherwise I'm not going to be
You're
able
not
to use
gonna
the
make
restroom.
it.
It was
Yeah.
that. And even though I was in so much pain, I was in more pain that I had let myself get to the place that I had been in.
So you become determined at that point. So you've
Absolutely.
made it through the first day, which is always, to me, one of the most difficult. Second day, when you're feeling it, though, because the first day, second day is insane. Second,
Feeling
third
it is
day,
not
then
the
you're
word.
really like miserable, and then you're questioning your judgment. What am I doing? It'd be so much easier for me to go back and eat, right? So
Or go
there's
to
this,
Sonobello.
or go get your stomach
Oh.
stable. Do something, right? So, but for you, you had the determination. You realized, look, this is what I have to do, and I'm going to push through the pain.
Right.
And the pain is not just physical,
Nope.
remember, at that moment. You've
No.
still got, you had the divorce going on, you had all these other things on your brain. And so you're dealing with mental, physical at the same time,
same time.
which is challenging. All right, so,
Your brain's going to give up before your body, so don't listen to it.
correct.
Like,
It's your best friend and your worst enemy.
Absolutely.
It depends on how you frame it and what you let in. And I think people get so caught up. We can all listen to that person who says, well, just have the next cookie, or I'm not judging, trust me, because I'm the next cookie person, right? But you should, you're all right. You already went to the gym 3 times this week. If your commitment is 5 days a week, you need to stay to 5 days a week. If it's 3 days a week, I don't care what your commitment is, but you have to make a commitment and then progress. And I think that's what you have
Absolutely.
done. And what's the time frame? When did you start this?
So I started this in December of last year. And-
2018?
No, 2018.
So you
2018.
started, that's amazing. I did
Right.
not
And
remember
I've lost
that
over
detail.
60 pounds
Wow.
from December to today.
And that is all, like, I want the magic pill,
That-
you know I do. That's, all of us want the magic pill,
I
Sabrina.
wish there was one, because I'd be, here you go.
Yeah, I know, but this is all from your determination.
You gotta get fed up. You just really have
Yeah.
to get fed up with it. Your comfort zone is gonna kill you. It really is going to kill you. And once I started becoming physically healthy, everything else started becoming healthier as well. I'm the healthiest I've ever been, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and even financially, because the new set found of confidence and determination that you put within your personal life definitely transfers over to your professional life. I mean, it's easy for me to look in the mirror now and be like, go get him today.
Right.
I couldn't do that a couple years ago. And I have to say, thank God for my RVP for believing in me, because he saw something that I may have said I wanted to see in myself that I didn't necessarily believe in at the time. I believe in now. I can tell you that.
See, you believe in it. All right, so what did you do? I mean, people are going to want to know. So people are afraid of the gym. You talked about leg day. Did you change you talked about a nutritionist. So you went in, you realized I need pros, I need experts around me because I don't have the knowledge. Who has the knowledge? We think we do because we read the back of the package, but we don't. So what was that like for you? Did you have to change the way you ate and what you ate?
Yes.
And so talk about that. What did you have to change for you? Remember, everybody's different, but for Sabrina, what was your journey?
I had previously had memberships to Planet Fitness and LA Fitness, and I thought, well, this can't be too hard. I only used it to go to classes or to pretend like I knew how to use the machines, because in all honesty, I had no idea how to use the machines.
Most people don't.
And I felt really intimidated having to ask someone, can you help me? And I didn't know how many reps I'm supposed to do, what exercise I'm supposed to, I had no idea. I'm not a personal trainer. This is not what I do. I mean, people hire me essentially to teach them about home warranties, and that's exactly what I did. I sought out a professional, somebody who can do something for me that I obviously can't do for myself, because if I could have done it for myself, then I wouldn't have even been in that position to begin with.
Correct.
So I found a gym that has challenges available to you, and within those challenges, it's usually a 60-day period where you then get a nutritionist, and you then also receive a detailed workout plan specifically to you, what works for you. And so what doesn't work for me is eating 150 times a day. It's just not feasible for me, and I hear people say that all the time. You
people
eat
talk
more.
about, right?
Yes,
So
you eat more. It doesn't work for me. I eat like a bird. So what did work for me is intermittent fasting, where the only time that I ate was from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And what did you eat? So did you eat all M&Ms and no? Because I think people get confused. So they think intermittent fasting. So talk about that, because I think people get confused.
Intermittent fasting, you have a scheduled time where you eat. That's the only time you eat. Outside of that, you're allowed to have beverages with 0 sugar. 0. So that means black coffee, no sugar, no Splenda, not anything.
Apparently no vodka.
No. No alcohol for the fasting period. So you can have green tea, no honey, no sugar, water. So a lot of water, and I would just put like cucumber in my water just so I can have some flavor, or like infuse it with strawberry. For your eat time, you still eat very clean. So you have.
What's clean mean?
Clean means non-processed. You don't want, you want to be able to monitor the amount of sugar. You want to be able to monitor the amount of fat and sodium. That's my
That's
sodium.
your
I'm not a sweets person. I could.
You like salt?
I like salt.
Yeah.
Like I'm like
potato chips.
Oh man, I'm like the baseball fan. Like a whole handful of sunflower seeds spitting on my corner. That's like my favorite thing. Or a good cheesy puff.
We love cheese puffs.
Yeah, they're
Cheetos,
so
bring it on.
Horrible for
But
you.
here's the thing. So do you, when you eat clean, do you have, because I think a lot of people don't, they think they immediately need to go from eating McDonald's 10 times a week to then they're all of a sudden going to cut it. That's it. It's over. I think a lot of people fail because they want that immediate thing, and so they go overboard, and there's no transition period. There's nothing. You go from black to white and back again, and so no wonder there's a failure rate.
You're at home like, what am I doing in my life?
Why am I doing this?
Right.
And why I just cut out, now I'm eating, I don't know, a piece of parsley. They don't understand that there's a really nice in-between there. And then you have to find, like you said, what works for you. Because you didn't, a lot of people say multiple meals a day, it speeds up your metabolism. No. That wasn't going to work for you.
Doesn't work
I would have to find.
Or keto. that was
Keto is not
that
working
was
for me. It
off the table
puts
for
my
me.
body into a weird place, and I've actually been to the doctor for it because I tried it and I was miserable and in pain.
No.
But you have to find what works for you.
Right.
It doesn't mean that if you say, okay, keto doesn't work for me, I'm going to eat 25 pounds of bread and pasta every day. You have to find a balance, and then everybody has their own balance, right? You have your own thing that works for you, but you're never going to know what that is until you begin to experiment and try.
So the blessing that came with joining the 60-day challenge was on their meal plan. It's an app-based meal plan, and you can set your meals in it. And what they do is they monitor everything from macros all the way down to how much sodium, how much sugar, how much fat, and what brackets you need to be in. So say for instance on that day they're recommended you should have sweet potato. I don't care for sweet potato. So I immediately would go into the app and look for a substitute that was going to give me the same type of nutrition, but something that I would enjoy, because I'm like, I don't want sweet potato. I like sweet potato. And there's only so many times you can have like grilled chicken and salmon and asparagus and broccoli without
Seriously.
ripping your hair out.
You can't.
So there's very creative ways to go in, and they have a Facebook group for the entire gym, and it's a great way to connect with people saying, hey, is there anyone else on the challenge that's doing fasting? And they would say, yeah, okay, can you give me a recipe for like oatmeal, because I want to eat it, but I am struggling. I'm on the struggle bus. So it's good. And that also transfers into exactly what's happening in my professional life.
Yeah.
That networking with those individuals and looking for assistance, simply asking for help,
Right.
is what actually works. If you don't ask, no one will know.
Well, people
what it is
view
you need.
asking for help as a weakness.
No, it's quite the
And then
opposite.
it's just literally, it's not a weakness. It's amazing if you will just be vulnerable enough and say, look, I need help. We all need help. Like nobody can exist without some sort of support system. And so you have to ask for the help. And if you don't know what you're doing, or you want to do something different, that's why I love Facebook groups. I love Instagram. I love all of that because I'm learning as I go. And sometimes I need to know something, and where do I go for it? Most of the time, my Facebook groups, because we're all going through it. It's the collaborative spirit we talk about on the show all the time. There has to be collaboration, because what you're going through may not be exactly what they're going through, but it's a similar journey as far as you got to find what tastes good for you. You got to find your workout regimen. You have to find how you're going to interact with people business-wise. Everybody's got their own little thing. I love the fact that you compared learning in your groups, learning what to do, and then applying it to business, because business is just another way of learning your way along. You have to build the relationships, and then you've got the trust, especially in your industry, home warranty. People really rely on that so much. And if you've got choices out there and you've got things, people that you have heard of, or companies you've heard of, and you don't have the personal relationship, then I think you're missing out. That's what Sabrina brings to the table.
I also think that you always should be asking someone who's already done it. You don't have to try to go in and invent the wheel.
Right.
Ask someone who's already done it, and guess what? They most likely will help you. They were not going to see you as competition. I think a lot of people really struggle with that, where they say, well, if I ask them, they're going to think like I'm trying to, push them out of the way. Not everyone is like that.
Well, you just have to get your wherewithal together and be able to be discerning enough to understand the people that are there to help. I have many friends in the mortgage industry that I ask questions of. We joke, we laugh. You can have relationships within your own industry, but you have to figure out who has your best interest at heart. And so collaboration, again, is so much more powerful than competition, I think. And I think that it's so important for somebody like you or somebody like me to collaborate, to work with people. And especially when you're on your personal and professional journey, you want to have somebody who's got your back. Like, I don't know anything about nutrition except what I read on the back of the label. And we all know that's BS. The labels are BS, right? So they're held to a very teeny tiny standard that the US puts out. And so it doesn't matter what's on that label. It really doesn't have to tell you the truth about what's in your product and what you're doing. So you have to be your own best advocate, which is what you're doing now and what you do with everyone, I think. So tell us where you're at now. You've lost 60 pounds, you said, since December. amazing.
Right.
And so what's the ultimate goal? Are you still training as hard as you were?
I
Are you
am
still
training.
exercising?
I am not training to lose any more weight because I think
Maintenance,
we'll
right?
wither away. What I am really focusing on, and again, everything ties over from personal to professional, is strength training. So now that I have, lost enough and shed all of the garbage, now it's how to make myself as strong as possible, even within this petite little frame that I've been.
How tall are you again?
I'm only 5 foot. I'm only 60 inches. I just barely make it to roller coasters. I get excited. When it says 54 inches, I'm like, woo,
here we go.
I just made it. We're platform speakers to it. So one thing I have done, and I'm doing this again, as they are very parallel to one another, I have an accountability partner. That accountability partner checks me for everything, and I think everyone should have an accountability partner, be it your spouse, be it your sibling, your parent, a friend, a colleague, somebody who's going to be honest with you. The thing is that you have to be willing to receive the honesty, because you can't ask someone to tell you something and you not like what they have to say and then dismiss them, because the only thing that you do is, again, you self-sabotage yourself. So you have to allow for that person to give you the accountability that you need. I'm gonna let that be my sister, because she's as honest as
there's a lot of programs out there. No competition, only co-opetition. Okay, very nice, Angelia. I love it. I think that people will they will rise to the occasion if you give them an opportunity to be your accountability partner. And I think that it's important to have somebody who's got checks and balances on you that you're willing to listen to. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be the best conversation, but you have to have somebody who's going to help you out, because there are going to be days where you revert back. Nobody's perfect, so you're like, oh God, I really want that whole bag of cheese puffs or Cheetos.
I mean, I've been there. Like
Right,
in
so
my
you
bed
get
with a bottle
there.
of wine and a whole entire bag of cheesy puffs, and my dog's laying next to me, and she's like, "Get out of bed."
I mean, you have to have somebody, but you also have to have moments, and you have to allow yourself to be human. And so I think a lot of people beat themselves up, and that's when they give up. So they've had that moment with the whole bottle of wine and then they go, okay, I've ruined everything. I'm done. Self-sabotage. Now I'm going to go eat the ice cream and everything in the fridge, and I'm off. I think that we all have to be a little less hard on ourselves and allow ourselves to be a little more human.
That's probably the hardest lesson.
It's
that I've
very
had to learn.
difficult, right? Mm-hmm. Because once you're in it, when you fall back, you get back on the wagon, so to speak, or you fall off the wagon, I guess is really the terminology. Then you beat yourself up over it. And if you're going to beat yourself up over it, then you're not going to be in a great place. Jeff Velez says, work hard, play harder.
That's the motto.
Literally, that is my motto, 1000%. But I think it's so awesome that you're able to share your story, and that I was telling you, I think at Aaron's event, you have a positive glow aura about you, which when I say that doesn't mean she's perfect. It means that she's in a place where she's at certainly in the most control of her life that she's ever been. And you can feel that when you're around people like you, and somebody you've got it in control, right? So that's important. I think most of us aspire to be that way. It's not always easy, but I think it's so important. And you can tell the difference in a person who's genuinely happy for other people, who's genuinely working on themselves, happy in the moment, at least that moment. Doesn't mean they're perfect in that moment. And you want to be around those people. It attracts other people like that. And I think it's very palpable, and you can see it. So you're awesome. All right, so we're going to share all of Sabrina's contact information, how you can reach out to her, how you can learn more about how you can reset for growth. She's obviously an open book, which I love about her. I think it's amazing. We're going to share her contact information about home warranties. So all my realtor friends who are out there, you want to reach out to her for sure. That's the plug, Jeff Velez. So there you go. So you got to do that. I love it. But I love sharing about mentors on the show. I think it's super important. You mentioned your sister earlier in your journey, but are there mentors that you want to give a shout out to? And it can be her again, somebody who's helped you either in this journey or along the way, because we need you all to be mentor driven. We want you to get more involved and help people out, like me and Sabrina and Sandra I had on earlier, and I had Shweta on. I mean, all of us have these people, and if we can collaborate with people and people help us, it's such a good thing. So give a thank you.
Probably gonna sound a little cliche, but my mom has definitely been my mentor. You know what? Your mom always has your best interest at heart. Even when you were little and she could spot out your fake nasty little snake friends and you didn't want to believe her, your mom always knew. And my mom actually, you know, she's been really good in this process, because sometimes the Latinas moms like to, you know.
You got beans and rice coming at you all the time, right?
But she's joined as well, and she's made this a part of her journey. So again, it's a good way to kind of it's just kind of ignited this family event. It's like me, my sister, my mom, my cousin, her husband, the best friend, that we all go to the same gym now because of that. One little ray of light, that ember just keeps sparking and sparking. Eileen Pacheco, I know you probably didn't expect this, but she's the one who brought me into the gym. She's the one that I watched from afar. I watched what she was doing, and I'm like, what can we do? Matter of fact, go visit her. She's at Lab 23 on Summerlin downtown. Get your hair done. You can get eyebrows waxed. I'm doing all kinds of plugs today. I love her. My sister, Leslie, I love you. Selling Shots. You need photography, videography. You want to make sure to get in contact with her.
That's the Leslie who just friended me.
Yes.
Did not know that. Okay, I accepted.
But I'm like, she's definitely the one, you know, hearing me cry, even when I'm like Kim Kardashian ugly cry. And she's like, get it together. Like, you need to stop forgetting who you are. And, you know, coming to the house and pulling sheets off of me, or making me look at myself in the mirror and say, look at that person. Look at her. Isn't she awesome? Well, you have to believe that too. So these are the type of people that you need in your life. And you also need somebody that you work with that is going to be your champion all the time. Senior Jeff Velez, thank you for always being that champion and being in my corner and pushing, because, again, I knew that there was the possibility inside of me, but I was kind of faking it until I made it. And this was the person who said, well, go.
I love that.
And I'm very happy that happened, because I'm in a place now where I'm just ready to conquer everything.
Conquer it all. Reset, baby. Reset. You're a joy. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. We love you guys. Again, reach out to Sabrina. She's obviously accessible and wants to share her story, and she'd love for you to succeed. That's what collaboration and support's all about. Appreciate you. We love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. See you soon.
Bye. Mwah.